welcome to this series of super simple Halloween costume making with me, Miss Libby Rose. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me for this. So this one is making little cut-offs, 3/4 shorts or tiny shorts. It depends what size you make them and how you create your design from the tutorial that I give you. So again, we are working with fat quarters, so materials you will need are 1 or 2 fat quarters, maybe 3 or 4, it depends. Are you making them for yourself? Are they for an adult? Are they for a child? Are they for a little child? If they're for a really diddy child, 1 fat quarter is enough. 2 is a good size. I think 2 is just like an average size and they're quite good. They've got a drawstring so they come in and out. So gather up. If you've got a pack of fat quarters, then that's a good place to start. Now, if you'd like to put some applique on, you can see us doing applique in one of the other tutorials that we did, the little tabard top. So we've got that there. So you'll need to gather up some applique as well if you want to put applique on these, and some heat and bond. Again, you would use the red heat and bond if you don't want to sew around it. So if you're not using your sewing machine in this make, then you use the different one, the red. So the one that you don't need, it's like a no-sew heat and bond. Otherwise, if you want to do the zigzag around it and do your sewing on there, then you can use heat and bond light like I've got here. Have a tape measure to hand as well, because you will need the person who is going to be wearing it nearby just to double check that it's going to fit okay. Some tailor's chalk, pins, and as I say in all of my makes now, we just have a little pot to hand, and they're for all of our scraps and cut-offs, and hopefully we can use those. And you will want some hand sewing needles if you're not going to be using the machine. Now, with the fat quarters as well, please keep hold of the ribbon that holds it all together, because we're going to be using that in this make too. So gather up all your materials and I'll see you back at this sewing table. So first of all, we're going to get fat quarter and iron it all out nice and flat. Now that's just really good practice to be in working with fat quarters, because they come in these beautiful packs that are all beautifully packaged, but they do have big creases in them, and then that makes it harder for us to work with. So there's different versions that we can make here. Now these are the really diddy ones. So they've got a drawstring in the top here. And when I pull those out, okay, I will tell you the measurements for those. So the widest that they will go is, so I've got 39 around the waist. So we're looking at about 77.5 around the waist. And the length of these, the longest point, goes to about 24.5 centimeters. Okay, so they are for the little diddy ones, and these are made from 1 fat quarter. So these are more 3/4, and when I pull out the full drawstring of these, I will tell you that they are, the widest is, say, 51, so we're looking at 102 centimeters. And then the longest that they go, so the longest peak is about 40. Okay, so, and this is using 2 fat quarters. So first of all, I'm going to show you using 1. So I'm going to fold it in half both ways. Okay, so fold it in half lengthways like this, and then cut it. And then fold it in half again. These are for these little shorts. Okay, now I want to cut out a triangle here, and this is for the inner leg. So the amount that you want to leave here also depends on how much you're going to need at the top. So if you see my little pair here, I think that I could have left more here, all right? So we've still got the turn down, remembering that there's still a turn down for the drawstring at the top here. So I'm going to leave it 18 centimeters. All right, so I'm going to drop it down 18 centimeters, and then I just do a little triangle from the edge. There's no real measurement for the triangle, but let's say I've come out 2 centimeters. So I've dropped it down 18 from the top here, and I've come out 2 centimeters and done a little triangle, if you can see that. So then you will have 2 pieces from 1 fat quarter that looks like that. Okay, you can kind of see that it's starting to look a little bit like shorts already. Then we're going to go to our sewing machine. And then if you're looking at applying applique at all, do that now. So go to one of these sides, and if you go to the little top tabard tutorial, I go through it all there. So you cut out your fabric, you cut out your heat and bond, apply your applique on, leaving enough because we've got a top turn down here as well. Okay, so making sure that you've got enough left there, and apply your applique. If you're not, I've got mine's going with a top that's got lots of applique already going on it, so these are just another extra to go with mine. So I'm not applying applique to my shorts. I'm going to go straight ahead up to the sewing part. So we're going to sew one side, and then in this triangle here. So pop some pins in and do that sewing. Okay, so next thing is to fold this top down. And again, I'll use my tape measure. I've got a 3 centimeter turn down there. And I'll press that. Pop some pins in, and then if you have applied applique, you'll need to know which is your front. So we're going to leave a space because that's where we're going to put our drawstring. The drawstring goes on the inside, and the drawstring is made from the ribbon that we've used on the fat quarter. So leaving a gap 4 to 6 centimeters, but sewing close to the edge the whole way around, but leaving that gap. Now take the ribbon from the packaging of the fat quarter, and if you've got a safety pin to hand, that would be really helpful. Grab a safety pin and push the ribbon through. So you're going to push it all the way around to come out the same hole. So we take our pinking shears and we can just make these little cuts. So they're really like tattered-y, piratey type of looking shorts. And you can really have some fun with this. So if you wanted to do this whole make again, but the bigger size, like with the measurements that I said earlier, and they will pull right in as well. So they are drawstrings, so they can just be big little 3/4 for your little ones as well. So you'd use 2 fat quarters for that. So you're still folding it in half, but just not as many times as you did for that one. So I fold it in half lengthwise. So I fold my fat quarters in half lengthwise, one on top of the other, and then I do that measurement of that triangle coming out, but just giving myself the extra space. And then I put right sides together and I sew up the sides. So what yours would look like is sewed up the sides here, and the triangular cutout in the middle here. And it just makes the whole thing again, but in the bigger, longer size. So I hope that you've got some ideas and some inspiration from that, and that will spur you on for some more costume making, and I'll see you for the next tutorial. Bye for now.